We're going to start seated. This has nothing to do with how scattered I am, but when I woke up this morning and stepped out of bed, I stepped into Dooley's vomit, which was totally awesome, on the bottom of my foot. And then I proceeded to drop everything at my house, and I locked myself out, but luckily there's the key. It's one of those days for me. So if you feel at all similar, you're in good company. Well, I think I'm good company. And if you're not, no worries, but we're going to do some grounding. But that said, we're also going to go into heart opening today. I'll give stages all along the way. I always like to remind my low back sensitive friends to be very cautious going into those heart openers, because that's the area that usually takes the brunt of it if we don't support it, right? So that said, find yourself in an upright position. And if there's something you know about your body to help you find that, the things that I say, they're generalizations, right? General bodies do this, that, or the other. But hopefully with time and really, not studying with me, but studying your body through taking these classes with me, you just start to know your body deeper and deeper and deeper. And yes, it's true, it's different every day. But at the same time, I have a few things in my body that are habitual, right? So I've learned those as well. So turning inward, exploring your body. And we'll start with that muscular, skeletal body. Stacking the vertebrae so that when they are stacked, hopefully we have to use that much less muscular effort to hold it up. And then start to move into what I often refer to as the breathing body. And anytime I say these, yes, they are all connected. It's true, right? We are one whole organism with these different bits and pieces and parts. And I don't mean to separate them out and be just in this, just in this, just in this. We want to be a whole organism. But it's kind of cool when you come into the breath, you can tune into your skeleton and your muscles, and you can start to see what happens. How does it shape shift your body, your physical body? So we're still sensing our muscles and our bones, but we're sensing how the breath affects them. Or maybe doesn't affect them that much. And that's an observation as well. But just a reminder, we love it when the belly is soft. And we have this open, receptive space into which the breath can flow. That's the lungs, right? But then down in the abdomen, we have this open, receptive space into which the diaphragm can move to fill the lungs. So it's an allowing of the air to come in. It's not an actual forcing. And then just tune in for a couple more breaths, a few more, I should say, breaths, and sense yourself, your whole organism, mind, body, breath, spirit, sensations, sounds, tastes, smells. And before we open our eyes, let's feel that earth underneath us. Again, if any of you are in a similar boat as me, or just feeling, it doesn't have to be exact like me, but just that kind of ungrounded quality, right? If you're very much up in the ethers, you might want to remember that there's a ground beneath you and feel that energy. Let's bring our hands together at our heart. Take an inhale. Exhale, bow your head lightly in, and just take a moment and set an intention. And I say set an intention, but I think sometimes we just need to remember, like, we got our tushies out of bed, right? We pulled out a mat, we turned on a computer. You probably already had an intention when you showed up. Can you tune into what that is? And lift the head back up. Bring the hands back to the thighs and open the eyes. And we're actually going to start our physical practice lying on our belly in that crocodile pose. So you want to move. I mean, if you want to unfold your blanket so you have a cushion and I'll show you what I mean by that. You don't need it, but if anyone wants to have a cushion or warmth because of the chilly days, you could do that number. Yeah, but you don't need it by any means. But I'm going to leave mine there because I just did that. My glasses, friends, glasses may not be super friendly for this next sequence, but you can always work around it. You'll have your hands under your forehead for most of it. You're going to try to, let's all start by bringing our hands on top of one another, bringing our forehead to the backs of the hands, softening the shoulders away from the ears. I'm going to make fists so my head's a little higher and my vocal quality is a little better, but you can do that. But if you can stay on the tops of your hands, do that. Yeah. And then you're going to pick up your right leg and reach your right toes way back behind you, gaining space at your right hip joint. Bring it down and do the same thing on the left. Lift it up, reach the toes back, lengthen the left leg and bring that back down. And then we're just going to take a couple of breaths being very soft on the earth here. So just kind of check in what wants to get, grab on. I just checked my shoulders were totally grabbing on. Right. I feel my jaw clenching a little bit. So just tune in one more time. We moved immediately. That brings in muscular contraction. And here we are with tension again. Now, some of my friends, you're going to see if you can cross your forearms on a deeper level, grabbing the elbow points. This depends on your shoulder girdle completely. Please do not go to pain. And then your head would come down to the back of your forearm, whatever forearm's closest to you. Softening down in. And again, just try to soften, particularly around the armpits and the top side of the shoulders and just anything there that feels like it might be a little tense. And for my friends who have more mobile shoulders, you're not feeling a ton right now. It's okay. You're still starting to say hello to the shoulder girdle. You're fine. You don't need big sensations. Let's take about 2 more breaths from here, just softening down into the earth, feeling that exchange of energy. We reach down into the earth with our energy. The earth's energy comes up into us. I don't care if you're on floor number 7. It's possible. Imagine it. And then from there, you're going to start to reach your arms out in front of you. Now, for anyone who has tight shoulders, please go wider with the hands. Make more of the letter Y. Yeah, that's where I'm going to be since it's my first little series into the hands. Or arms, sorry. Put your forehead down on the ground again. Again, I'm going to leave mine just a little bit lifted so you can hear my voice better, but I'd love your forehead to be down so your neck can be uber soft, right? And then from there, you're going to turn your palms towards one another. And then the pinky fingers are on the ground, almost like you're karate chopping the earth, yeah? Now, I want you to simply, it's very little, it's not a big motion. Slide your fingers a little further away and let your shoulders actually come up to your ears. The things I often say don't do, right? We're playing with our scapular movements. And then from there, you're going to go ahead and you're going to pull your pinkies back and you're going to try to slide the bottom tips down as far as you can towards your buttocks and be a little extreme, quote, don't go into pain, right? And now reach them forward, let your shoulder blades slide up towards your ears. So the motions of the arms are secondary. And pull those shoulder blades down or traction your hands back. And as you do, not traction, pull them. As you pull them back, you'll feel your shoulder blades move down the back, right? One more time. We're going into elevation, it's called, with our shoulder blades up to the ears. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to depress. We're going to move our shoulder blades all the way down to our buttocks. And then we're going to come somewhere right in the middle where it feels like it's our Goldilocks just right spot. Yeah? So we're not in elevation or depression. The shoulder blades are planted firmly in the middle of the back. Push down now into your pinky fingers, forehead still on the earth, by the way. And as you push into your fingertips, I want you to see if you can feel the muscular engagement around your shoulder blades. It should not be painful, but it hopefully feels like a little bit of work. Now push into the tops of the feet so your thighs get buoyant, the tailbone moves down, and we're supporting that low back because we do not want to do any damage to that low back at all today, right? And now from there, you're going to push down into the forearms, not the forearms, sorry, the pinky fingers, the toes, the tailbone, and let that lift the head and the chest maybe a few inches off the floor. Don't go very high. Reach through the crown of the head, not the chin, and see if you can't get that whole spine to elongate. But yes, there is a little bit of an upper back bend here. Take a breath and go ahead and come down. Cross with your other forearm on top into crocodile, forehead to the forearm. You could always go to the arm wider position if that's better for your shoulder girdle. No pain, no pain, no pain. If you continue to go into pain, you're not listening to your body's response, and chances are great that your shoulder's going to get more pissed, right? Or whatever part it is. Or maybe that you're not going to heal whatever it is that's in pain. And from there, this time you're going to reach the arms forward one more time, but you're going to try to see if you can bring them into shoulder distance. My shoulder sensitive friends, please stay with the wider. You'll still get the benefit, I swear to goodness. Your forehead is on the earth. You're going to go ahead and you're going to go into elevation, reach the fingers too far forward. Well, not too far, but you know what I mean. Shoulder blades up to the ears. And then I want you to pull the pinkies back and move the shoulder blades down, 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 down. Too much, right? Come right in the middle, your Goldilocks, right? Now push the feet down, move the tailbone down, move the pinky fingers down, and inhale, let that lift you up. The head and the chest lift up just a little bit. You might even feel those pinky fingers drag back as you lift up. Reach through the crown of the head. And now maybe we're going to swim. You don't have to swim. You can leave it just like this. Wide version, you can still swim, okay? Go ahead and reach your right fingers and your left toes further away from each other, so much so they lift about 2 inches, maybe 4 at the absolute most. That's even high, I think. Bring that down. Left fingers, right toes, they move away from one another. The low belly does not drop down when you do that, I hope. And bringing that down. If it does, you're going too far in and you're compressing your low back. Right fingers, left toes, that low belly stays toned in your corset. We work with the corset all the time. Bring it down. One more time, left fingers and right toes. Now, maybe you come down, and if you want to try to hover all 4 limbs, maybe it's just the toes, maybe it's just the fingers. Don't crush the low back. Low belly toning in, low belly toning in, low belly toning in. Bring your hands together or your forearms, other forearm on top. Anybody feeling their shoulder blade area? I love you. So we started this realm. We're going to go into upper back bends. But I want you to have an awareness of what your scapula, your shoulder blades do and how they help us open the chest. Yeah. So that's part of why we taught and did why I taught what I did on Tuesday, because it was to open us up to this next place. Yeah. And Mark, this will go kind of into what I did with you and Kate too. Bring those arms out to the side, teed out from the shoulders, forehead on the ground. Come onto your tentapods, 10 fingers. Push down into your tentapods, right? And now from there, actually, you don't have to go into tentapods. Bring the palms down. I apologize. We're going to do the shoulder blade movements first. So again, my head is lifted so you can hear me, but please don't lift your own head. Keep your forehead down for this. I'll tell you when it's available to lift it. You're going to slide your fingers as far out away from each other as they can. You're going to feel your shoulder blades move to the side of the rib cage. Now I want you to move your shoulder blades together like elevator doors. The hands just slide back because of that, right? And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to slide your fingertips out away from you and feel how the shoulder blades move to outside of the rib cage. That's called protraction, by the way. Go ahead and slide the shoulder blades into what's called retraction, elevator doors. So the arms are just kind of on the journey for what the shoulder blades are doing. Go ahead and one more time, move out into protraction. And then move into retraction. I do think it's important you start to hear these phrases and understand the movements. Now go to your Goldilocks, your happy medium right in between. They're not too far to the side of the ribs. They're not slammed together like elevator doors. Hug in from all 4 sides around the shoulder blade. Yeah. And now come up onto your tentapods. Forehead still down, by the way. Press into the tops of the feet, move the tailbone down, move your finger pads down, and feel that engagement around your shoulder blades. Now keep that, please. And maybe you push down enough that the forehead can now lift up just a little bit, crown of the head reaching forward, not the chin. Keep that corset toned up and in. That's your low back protection, part of it anyway. Take another breath from there. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to come down, and I'm going to have you bring your arms by your side and turn your head one direction. Whatever direction feels groovy is the one to do. Okay. Now we're going to start to move towards bow pose, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do half bow pose on both sides, and then we'll move towards full. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, I'll tell you. You're going to reach your right arm out in front of you, forehead on the ground, right? You're going to push down into the pinky edge of that right hand, get that shoulder blade into your Goldilocks position, and really hug that in. Push down in the tops of the feet, thighs lift, tailbone down, core sit up. Now from there, bend the left knee. That left hand is in position to try to grab onto that ankle or foot. You could use a strap here. I forgot to warn you to have one handy. I apologize. Or you could just reach the two pieces towards each other. Some of y'all, you probably just got a hamstring cramp. Stretch the hamstring by straightening the leg, pushing the heel away, and try to come back to it, please. The left knee wants to move wide, so keep the left knee straight back towards the back of the mat. And then from there, go ahead and traction your right pinky back or pull it back a little bit. Lift the crown of the head slightly, right? Reaching it. Same work we just did. It's just that left leg is in a really weird position, right? Now push your left shin back behind you. And if you're holding on to it, it starts to pull that left shoulder open. You feel the opening of the front of the left shoulder and of the left side of the chest. Yeah? Take a breath into that. If you're in your low back, stay lower or stay out of it completely. Go ahead and release that. Right on to the other side. Stretch the left arm forward. Bring the right arm by the side body. Bring the forehead down. Find your Goldilocks position in your left shoulder blade. Pinky finger down, push down so you feel the hugging engagement. Reach the feet down, thighs lift, tailbone down, all the stuff, yeah? Now bend the right knee. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to have you lift your forehead. Lift your forehead just a little bit. My bad, sorry about that. Reach through the crown of the head. Now bend the right knee, reach back with your right hand and either almost grab, strap, or grab the foot, whatever you can do, yeah? And from there, you're gonna push the right shin back and it's gonna pull your right chest a little open, yeah? Be careful of the low back. I know I'll say it 500 times, but you have no idea how many times people walk away and a day later or the next that night or whatever, they're like, my low back hurts, right? Pull that corset up. Open the right shoulder in front of the right chest. Keep the right knee into the midline. Take one more breath and come down. You have options. You can bring your arms by the side and turn the head the other way, which I'll suggest so you get the other neck stretched, right? The other side of the neck. Or you could do the stacking of the hands. Hopefully you're breathing. Okay, so now we're going to try and go for the big one, yeah? So you're going to go ahead and you're going to bring your arms by your side if they weren't already. Forehead's on the ground for a moment. Turn your palms down. Press into the tops of the feet, the thighs lift, the tailbone down. Hug the shoulder blades into that happy medium, your Goldilocks spot, right? Push the hands down so the shoulder heads lift and lift up into the upper body of Shalabhasana, Locust Pose. Reach the crown of the head forward. Notice that it's the same dang upper body. Our arms are just in different places, right? Now bend your left knee and try to grab onto your left foot or strap it. Bend your right knee and try to grab on. If you're not there, you're just going to work with the left foot and you'll switch to the right in a little bit. Move the knees into the midline. If you can get the ankles, take them, flex the feet. Either way, push the shins back to reach the chest forward, right? We start to roll the shoulders back and open the chest. Tone the low belly up. Get out of your low back. It is not worth compressing the low back. I love you so much. Maybe the heels push up for a hot second and come down. Either arms by the side, head original direction, or hands under forehead, soften in. And you probably want to forward fold pretty bad, so we're going to do that in just a second. But let's give them the spine just a moment to integrate that, please. Now, bring your hands next to your low floating ribs, push the floor away, and you're going to come on up into child's pose. Knees wide, big toes touch. Take it nice and slow because we're moving the spine in the exact opposite direction of what we've done so far. You might let the forehead be a little higher initially. I like to make fist pillows and pause there. And take a breath or two, and then maybe I start to come down to one fist or come down to the ground. I might leave a block under my forehead the whole dang time. Right? But let the body soften into this forward fold, aka flexion. Okay, so now from there, if anyone had that blanket under them, you definitely want to move that because we're going to go to downward dog in a jiffy. Otherwise, you're just going to reach your arms out in front of you, planting the palms down, right? So you're still in child's pose. You're just adding the extension or the activation, we sometimes call it, right? And as the palms push down and the forearms lift up, I wonder if your shoulder blades are in their Goldilocks spot, right? Not too far up, not too far down, not too far in, not to the center, not too far out to the sides of the ribs. Where's that sweet spot? Can you hug all of the muscles around the shoulder blade on all sides so that you get a stability there? Yeah. Now from there, we're going to move up in a downward dog. Keep your upper body. Try to keep those shoulders. Inhale up to hands and knees. Try to keep those shoulder blades. Exhale back into downward dog. I would say bend the knees. It's not about the legs right now. It's about the upper back. Try to find that beautiful length in the upper back, maybe even imagining without your ribs flaring that your chest could reach a little more towards your toes, or I could say it's a melting of the backside of the heart. I like that idea a little bit more, right? So there's a melting in the backside of the heart. Take a breath from there. And we're going to walk our hands back to our feet. We'll end up at the back of the mat. Bend the knees, grab the elbow points. Let's hang in for just about 2 breaths with each forearm in front. Inhale and exhale. And again, do bend the knees. It's about the upper body right now. Inhale and exhale. Put your other forearm in front. Inhale and exhale. How's your body exploration going this morning? Inhale. Don't say good or bad, just observations. Exhale. Now from there, we're going to walk back out to downward dog again. But here's the deal. I want you to notice the weight of the heels. Even if they lift, keep the heels weighted, walk forward. Keep the heels weighted, walk forward. Even if they come up, push them down and walk forward, and push them down and walk forward. Now, when we come in that way, we've got those beautiful legs working, but our upper back has a little, needs a little help usually, right? So bending the knees a little bit. Can you push down and forward, right? Can you find that hugging on all sides of your shoulder blades so they're in their sweet spot? Can you let that chest melt, right? From the back of the heart through the front of the heart, all the way forward towards or I shouldn't say forward, towards your toes almost, right? Let that neck be in alignment with the rest of the spine. And bring the knees down, hands and knees. From here, we're going to go into just a little bit of hip motion, give that upper body a little breaker. So go ahead and reach the right toes back. Toes are on the earth, the leg is straight. Right? Push the heel back, reach the chest forward, find the toning of the abdomen. So we do this quite a lot. Now from there, I want you to lift the leg up to hip height, but don't lift your right hip. You can even look back. If your toes are pointing out to the right, you're lifting your hip. Turn your toes down, let your inner groin participate, and then look forward again so you have your long spine, tone your corset. Right? Now from there, without anything in your pelvis and your abdomen changing, your spine in general, go ahead and bend the right knee, but try to keep that knee the height of the hip. Yeah? So now my heel is kind of facing the sky, maybe, depending on what's available for you. Now I want you to pull the heel even closer to the buttocks. Whether or not it gets there, pull it in as tight as you can to your buttocks so your hamstrings light up. Yeah? Are you leaning to the left? Can you keep that left hip hugging in, that glute fired up? Now go ahead and push that left heel back without lifting the hip, straighten the leg. Now this time when you bend the knee, you're going to lift the right knee, you're going to lift the right hip, and you're going to let it stack over top of the left as much as you can. So you really get to open that up, yeah? And then from there, you're going to ask your left shin to move out to the left, right? And you're going to bring that right foot all the way back behind you, lifting the right arm, and you end up in this strange side angle pose, right? This is that side plank. So I straighten my right leg behind me. I might reach that right arm back just a little bit. I know this is foreign. We don't always do this. It's a variation of what's called wild thing, right? Find that back bend. Find that chest opening. Inhale without compressing the low back. Look down, bring the right hand down, lift the right leg, bring the left shin back, hands and knees. One more side, and then we get a little wrist and arm break. You could be on fists if your wrists are getting sensitive. Curl the left toes under. Push the heel back, straighten the leg, reach the chest forward, and stabilize your shoulder blades, stabilize your hip joints. Now, maybe that left leg lifts up to hip height. Look back. If your toes are pointing out to the left, mine always are, by the way. I need to rotate my inner groin up so my hip doesn't lift and my leg is neutrally rotated for today, right? Now, bend the knee. Keep the knee the height of the hip if you can. And then pull the heel in as much as you can towards the buttocks and say, hello, hamstrings, but don't drop the belly and the ribs. And then flex the foot, straighten the leg, and push the heel straight back behind you. This time when you bend the left knee, you're going to let the left knee lift up, the left hip lift up, but hug the right glute in and move into an opening. You can stay here, or you can let your right shin move over to the right. It kind of parallels to the back side of the mat. The left leg straightens out or foot comes on the ground. You lift the left arm, you reach it back behind you. Now, shoulder blades, they move together and down to the buttocks to lift the chest. This is the one time we do go to, not the extreme version, but a little bit deeper into those movements. Yeah. Look down, start to bring the left hand down, lift the left leg, swivel the right shin back, and come into child's pose. Let those forearms, wrists rest. Breathe. So as you probably know from my teaching, we get a little bigger. You can always stay with the, quote, smaller version. It doesn't mean you're smaller for doing it, right? It just means it's not quite as extreme, we'll call it. But I want you to come up to hands and knees or sit back on your heels somewhere where you can see me. I want you to see this before we do it, please. I'll move you into downward dog. Again, you're not doing this as a demonstration, you're watching. You'll lift the right heel up. You'll bend the knee, you'll lift the hip, hugging the left glute in. Now, maybe, you start to lift your right hand and you trust the floor catches you and you reach it open and you go into full wild thing, right? And I let my head just kind of settle back. It doesn't crush, but it reaches back and down. I look forward as I bring my arm, as I swivel back around. You can tell it's not the most graceful exit, right? And if you're like, oh, I don't think so, Crystal Joy Johnson, you go right back to this version we just did, and it's still the same upper back bend without the weight bearing. Yeah? Easy peasy. Just kidding. Come into downward facing dog. Now, before you move anywhere, get your shoulder blades in your sweet spot. Hug in on all sides of the shoulder blade. Really activate through there and melt your heart, yeah? Or you're on hands and knees, by the way. Reach the right leg up. Bend the right knee. Lift the right hip while hugging the left glute in. You might just stay right here. You might be on your knee. Swivel your left shin out if you're on your knee. And then we're going to drop that right foot back behind us, opening the right arm and lifting it. Move the shoulder blades to the buttocks and together. Open the chest. Let the crown of the head reach down and back. Extension in the neck, right? And then we're going to turn and look. We're going to reach the right arm up. We're going to push in that left foot like crazy as we reach the right leg up. Whew, and bring it back through center. This is a lot of upper back and arm work, right? Either from hands and knees or downward dog. Lift the left heel up. Bend the left knee. Lift the left hip. Right? Hug the right hip and you might just stay right here. Swivel the right shin out if you're on hands and knees. And then you're going to start to lift the left hand and drop back, letting the left foot come to the ground, letting the left arm tee out, shoulder blades towards the buttocks and together. Let the neck release, head drops back and down gently. To come out of this, start to look where you're going to go. Lift the left arm, bring it around, push into the right foot and lift that left leg. Oh, good morning. If you were on hands and knees, maybe join us in downward dog if it's available. Or if you're like, I don't think so, head to child's pose. Inhale. And on an exhale, come up on your tippy toes, bend your knees, look forward, step or jump to the top of your mat. You thought I'd never ask, huh? Inhale, reach in the chest forward. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, hands on hips or arms can reach out. Whatever floats your boat. Come on up to standing, friends. Exhale, arms down by the side. Stand nice and tall for a few moments. And just check in, particularly with, your low back too. You don't want to, you want to, if you're getting sensitive there, it's in a little bit of pain, that's information for you. But I really want you to check into everything from about your low ribs, right? The floating ribs all the way up through the neck. on the back side of the body, and maybe even through the chest and the front of the shoulders on the front side. I wonder if your breath has changed since we observed it earlier. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, reach the chest forward. Find that beautiful upper back, friends. Bend your knees, plant your hands, step your left foot back. We're going to drop the left heel down, the heel, not the knee. Walk the right foot over if you need to the left a little. Bend the right knee and look forward, and then we're going to swivel up to windmill up to warrior two. So the left arm sweeps forward and comes all the way up into warrior two. Hugging the right hip in, right? All of our usual suspects. Let's today turn our palms up, soften our shoulder blades down. And as you reach out fingertips through your fingertips, both ways, opposite directions, right? I want you to feel how that hugs those shoulder blades up into the rib cage, right? Really helps make that connection. Now from there, keep that as much as you can and reach the arms up. Your shoulder blades will lift a little bit, but don't let them pop up into your ears, right? Now turn the palms down and exhale, come to that shoulder height again. And if your shoulders are truly out of your ears and your upper traps are not activated, you can probably turn towards the right with a little more ease. Oh, that's interesting. The shoulder blades and the upper traps are related to the neck. Huh, weird. Swiveling down, right arm leads, left arm swings back and over to come to the earth. Step back, plank if you'd like some heat. Don't go to plank if you don't want heat. Go to downward dog, yeah? Or maybe knees down if you want a happy medium. Pushing the heels back, chest forward. So the shoulder blades, right? We don't want them wrapped all the way around the side with a super rounded upper back. Not today anyway. We don't want them slammed together with our ribs dripping down. We don't want them up to our ears, nor do we want them slammed to our buttocks. Where's that Goldilocks place? Exhale back, downward facing dog. Breathe. Inhale. And on your exhale, you're going to come up to your tippy toes, bend your knees, look forward, step or jump to the top of the mat. I know we didn't do the other side. We're going to do it a little different today, friends. Inhale, reaching the chest forward. I mean, I might forget something. Please tell me if I do. Exhale, fold, but that was intentional. Inhale, arm variation of your choice. Come on up to standing. Give me a second. I have to strip down a layer. Whoo-wee. I'm getting toasty. Okie dokie. So I was going to say folkies, okie dokie folkies. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. It's a new phrase, even for me. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, chest forward. Find that beautiful upper back. Bend your knees, plant your hands. The right leg is going to go back. You're going to bring the right toes down or heel down, and you might need to walk your left foot over to the right a little bit to find your stability. Get deep into the lunge, on fingertips, find your upper back, and then the right arm swivels forward and up to bring you into your warrior two today. And I'm just going to stay with the back angle on me. I think seeing different perspectives is sometimes a helpful tool, right? Chest tries to face the long edge of the mat. I'm going to turn my palms up, and in doing so, my shoulder blades start to soften down. Now really reach your fingertips out away from each other like crazy and see if you can't feel the shoulder blades hugging. They're on the side of the body, it's true, right? Protraction. But can they hug into the rib cage with that action? Now maybe the arms are going to reach up. And by the way, you're just looking towards the long edge of the mat right now. I screwed up. I was trying to get my voice too, but I don't have to turn my head for that. Soft shoulders. Right? Now turn the palms down and bring that back down. And if your shoulders are away from your ears and your shoulder blades are in their sweet spot, it makes it easier for the neck to turn the head towards the left. Play with that. What is that for you? And take another breath from here. And then swiveling down, left arm and then right arm. Stepping back to plank if you want it, downward dog if you don't, child's pose if you're like, absolutely not. I sometimes bring my knees down to find that sweet spot on my shoulder blades where they're in their Goldilocks position, and then keep it, hug it in, and then push the heels back. If that's a helpful tool, try it, right? I've been doing this for 20 years and I still do that crap, yeah? And I still find stuff. Reach back to downward facing dog. Don't think that you are a bad student or that that's beyond you, or foundations don't really matter. You've already got it down, right? These things are not very helpful in the long scheme or the long run. I don't know, something like that. Take a breath from there. On your exhale, you're going to come up on your next exhale. Come up on your tippy toes, bend your knees, look forward, step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale that chest forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arm variation of your choice to come up to standing. Exhale, arms down by the side, pause. And now we're involving all bits and pieces. Yes, it's an upper body focus, but ooh, we just did some hippie stuff, right? So check in. I wonder if your breath is changing. I wonder if your mind is changing. Hopefully not like your mind like, oh, I shouldn't have done this class. And then from there, we're going to go into warrior. Well, it's humble warrior, but we're going to go by way of warrior one. So put your hands on your hips, bend your knees, and step your left foot back. It's a little longer of a distance, right? That left hip is going to be back a little bit from the right, but we try to move the left inner heel back and the left hip forward to get them as parallel to the front edge of the mat as we can, right? But they don't parallel all the way, so don't get obsessed with that. Now, from there, we can continue to turn our chest, and our chest can turn and face the front of our mat. We're going to grab onto our elbow points in front of us. This should be familiar by now, right? We're going to start to reach the arms up by holding onto our elbow points. We're going to keep our upper traps soft, but we're going to pull the flesh of the elbows up and lengthen out of our side waist. Yeah? Make sure you're pulling your frontal hip points up. This is low back protection. Bend the right knee and come into this variation of warrior one. Now that left heel, really root it down. It's going to want to come up. As that outer heel pushes down and the right knee bends, weight in the right heel. Hopefully the low back stayed long. The ribs didn't flare out. Now maybe you reach the arms up. I want you to imagine you have a block between your hands and push into the imaginary block. Hug the area around the shoulder blades. Let the chest melt forward and up, and maybe those arms reach back a little behind you, pushing into your imaginary block, right? And you have a little upper back bend. If it goes into your low back, get out of dodge. And go ahead and bring the hands down. This is the first round, right? Come onto the ball mounts and a little bit of core and abdominal strength to bring that left foot forward. I'm not going to break it down, but you guys know it pretty well. Hopefully I break it down a lot for good reason. Hopefully it becomes unconscious at some point in our movements, right? Bending the knees, stepping the right foot back. Right outer heel roots down like the Dickens. We start to wrap our right hip forward, but it's never going to parallel completely. So the stance should be that wide, yeah? But our chest can continue to turn and it can face the front edge of the mat. Other forearm. If you're like, I'm not sure, you almost always do the same one, do the other one on top, yeah? And then with the straight legs, we're going to lift up, right? Once we get overhead, we're going to keep our upper traps soft, our shoulder blades hugged in, but we're going to lengthen the flesh. So we lengthen out of the side waist, right? We keep that long, low back. And then we bend the left knee, but we push the right outer heel down, but we bend the left knee, but we push the outer right heel down, but we bend the left knee. And then maybe you reach those arms up, pushing into an imaginary block. If you want it, you could always grab it, but I think you still get the benefit, right? As you push into the imaginary block, I want you to see if you can move your shoulder blades down, lifting the chest forward and up. Maybe the fingertips reach back a little bit. The neck is on the journey. The more the upper back does the work, the neck just follows in suit. And yeah, I'm looking up, but not because I'm looking up. And bring the hands down to the hips and come out of the ball mounts. Use your core, step forward. So now we're going to go into humble warrior, but we're going to go by way of that warrior one this time. Yeah. I just want to point out one thing before you go. You're just watching me for a second. All of this business, right, is to keep the low back long so that when we go into that upper back bend, we're not compressing through the low back. I did it for years and I did some damage, right? This time, I'm going to talk about trying to bring the palms together and pushing the palms together. For some of my shoulder friends, that is just not possible. You're broad-shouldered, maybe you have short ligaments, etc. So you'll go with the block version again, okay? A little quicker, but the same stuff. Hands on the hips, bend the knees, left foot back, left heel back and down, left hip forward, chest forward, grab elbow points, reach up, soft shoulders, inner shoulders, lengthen the side waist, bend the right knee. Okay, now we're where I want you. Now from there, straighten the arms up and either push into your block or maybe your palms can connect, right? But don't bend the elbows. Push into the hands so much that your fingertips reach up and your upper back starts to move forward to your chest, opening your chest, right? The neck is on the journey. As the upper back moves in and forward and up, the neck extends and you end up looking up. Now try to keep an element of that. You're going to bring your hands behind you and clasp thumbs or interlace hands. Reach the knuckles down, open the shoulders, and then start to fold in. I like to go with my eyes first. I find a fixed point and I start to fold while looking at that fixed point, and then I do it again when I get a little further in. The knuckles, the shoulder heads lift, the knuckles reach back initially and soften the neck and let the head come down. We're playing with balance in a big way, guys. Maybe looking at that non-moving spot. Maybe the knuckles start to reach up off your back. They might even start to reach up to the sky, lifting the chest even more, or the shoulders. And to come up out of this, we're going to reach the knuckles back and they're going to push back so much they lift our body. Hands on the hips. Use your core. Step the left foot forward. Whew. This is the last of the big stuff. Well, we got one more side, but right leg steps back, straight legs initially, right heel down, other forearm, boop. Inhale up, lengthen side waist, soft upper traps, bend left knee. Extend the arms or not. Maybe palms reach in as the palms touch, or you move into your imaginary block. You move in so much your fingertips lift up. Your upper back moves in as the shoulder blades slide down and a little together, and that chest melts forward and up, which helps my neck extend. And yes, I'm looking up, but not because I cranked my neck. Yeah? Now keep an element of that as you reach the arms back. Interlace other index finger if it makes sense, otherwise who cares? Reach the knuckles down. At a time like this, it's too much to pay attention to sometimes. Reach the shoulders back and then look down a little first and start to fold in, right? Keep your eyes fixed on a non-moving spot. And then you might do that again. Pause and look a little further down and come on to your edge. Now reach the knuckles back so the shoulder heads lift and the spine elongates. Then let the head move down. Find that non-moving spot to look at. Soften the neck. That might be plenty. Maybe the knuckles start to reach up off of the back towards the sky. Maybe the knuckles lift up towards the sky. Feel that neck elongating. Ooh, so nice. Push that right heel down. You got to work for it, but it's nice, right? Now, maybe those knuckles reach back to bring you up. Not maybe, please let them. Hands on hips. Step your right foot forward. Arms by the side. Pause. If you were to pay attention to your whole organism, what would you notice? Sight, sounds, taste, smells, breath, muscles, skeleton, organs, brain, mind. The one thing I like about the chest opening, well, it depends. I don't always do it. I know not to do it sometimes, right? But man, my heart starts to beat a little faster. My chest widens. And because I'm taking so much oxygen in, I tend to get energy, right? So now I want you to feel the earth underneath you. And having energy is not a bad thing. But if it's not grounded, not awesome sometimes, right? So really feel the earth underneath you and stay grounded to the earth, even as you have that rise in energy, yeah? Bring your arms out in front of you, the height of the shoulders. Reach your fingertips too far forward. Shoulder blades are a little too far forward for what we're gonna do, right? So now we're gonna move them back and we're gonna move them together like elevator doors, but there's nothing comfortable about that, right? Find your happy medium. Inhale the arms up, trying to hug all sides of the shoulder blades into place. And then start to sit down. We're coming to the ground, by the way. What is that upper back? What role can that play in moving you to the earth? And you're on your buttocks. Woohoo, you thought I'd never ask. Let's do 2 forward folds. We've done a lot of this. Let's do a couple of these things, yeah? Any of my friends with props, you could have those blocks nearby. So when we do the forward fold, we have a little support system, okay? So first one, Pashimotonasana. Getting really long, AKA double hamstring whammy. Pelvis is gonna fold you in until the pelvis will no longer join you. And then you'll soften in. Knees can bend. You can be up on a surface, all the usual suspects. Instead of pulling today, I would love for you to just have your arms by your side, palms up, soft shoulders. And again, I invite any of my friends who have any kind of devices where you could bring the floor up to your forehead. I invite you to do that today. And you've got, if you have blocks, you've got many edges. So you've got all kinds of different heights. If you're next to a coffee table, you could do it at a coffee table. Legs under the coffee table. The legs are turned on a little bit, but let's say maybe 45 to 50%. Arms and upper back, definitely not turned on. They're just rounding. And after you've been there for a little bit, my propped up friends, you might find that maybe you can inhale the chest a little forward and maybe you can come down a little bit. Maybe not, right? And my other friends without props, gravity is just going to naturally do that for you. You don't have to attempt to do it. We just get prevented by the blocks. One more breath wherever you are. This is more about the upper back bend than it is the hamstrings in my world. Now, your body might not be telling you that, but then you might bend your knees more or sit up on something. Hands can come next to the thighs, knees-ish. Inhale, reach the chest forward to come on up. Wide-legged, soup. You can have those props handy for the just in case, the JIC I call it, right? Get nice and tall, pelvis. When there's no more pelvis, it's the L5, L4, L3, L2, L1, all the way up until you get through the thoracic spine and the cervical spine. You might ground the forehead. I'm going to suggest that you don't do any pulling or like downward dog arms. Let the arms be soft. Really breathe into that upper back and let that upper back be soft. And again, tune in. If your low back is sensitive, it doesn't mean that it's bad or wrong or anything like that. It just means that you're moving a little too far into the upper back bends than your low back has the muscular support for at this time. So you would just do a little less. And the stronger we get that low back, the more you can start to move into these without that pain. If you're on something with the forehead, maybe you reach the chest a little forward and then come down to that next level. Maybe not, just depends on your body, right? And again, the legs are, 45, 50%. I mean, they're on a little bit, just a little bit, but not much. It's more about that spine. For me today, anyway, that's what I would like it to be about. Inhale, reaching that chest forward, coming on up. Any cuddly things you need to be on the back, grab them, cuddle up. And even if you're like, no, I'm still hot, once you get still, you'll cool down pretty quick. So if you're in a cold environment, you might still put something nearby so you can grab it. And then maybe a little core. What role does your upper back play? Or can it play as you come down? Let's do one twist in a Shavasana. So those arms can tee out. You can either leave the feet on the ground. I find for the work we just did, my favorite twist for this is to move my hips a little to the left. It's that one where we straighten the right leg and we bring the left leg up. Right hand grabs that knee and you roll over onto the right side body. You might even turn your head to the left, but try it. And if that's not quite right for your body, you could bend both knees and just stack them. You could do windshield wiper. If your low back is sensitive, windshield wiper might be the trick for you, right? That might be like, oh, heaven. So different bodies, different things. And different days, different things. Depends on my day. And breathe. Oh, you even got a snort this morning, guys. Ay. And then go ahead and bring the hips back down to the earth. If you move them a little right of center, straighten the left leg, right knee in. right? You can grab with the left hand and roll onto the left side waist, turn the head to the right. Again, other options would be just your knees stacked together or windshield wiper. And sensitive low back friends, I think windshield wiper might be your ticket, but I don't know. Try them. What feels awesome? And not what you think should feel awesome, but what actually feels awesome. And bring those hips back to the earth wherever you were. If you had them to the right, you're going to put them back to the center, pick them up and bring them back down. And it's Shavasana time, friends. If your low back is sensitive, for years mine was, I didn't know how to work with my low back and do upper back bends at the same time. You might roll something up and put it underneath your thighs. And I will show that one because I think this one is just such a nice gift to give yourself if you accidentally, but be careful about it in the future, right? Went into that low back. Otherwise, it's Shavasana, it's corpse pose. So take the time to figure out like where your body needs to be today with the body you have right now. But then once you find that spot, we're going to check into our muscular skeletal body. And we're going to try to soften all of the muscles. And then check into the breath. And I'd like you to work with it for just a few moments where you're actually going to, quote, control it a little bit, which is a nice deep inhale, imagining that belly moving all the way down in, or breath moving all the way down into your belly. Right, that receptive belly. And then when you exhale, right, nice, slow, control it a little bit on the way out and see if you can't slow that down just a little bit. And do that maybe 2 more times, just breathing into that really open and receptive belly and heart space. And when you exhale, there's this beautiful natural release. And then after you've done that 2 or 3 times, you're going to start to bring your awareness back to, you're not controlling the breath, right? The breath goes to its natural state. And then you can bring your awareness to the sensations of the physical body, or it could be an observation of the breath as well. So still in Shavasana for now, anyway. And then we're going to end with just a short little meditation. Now, if you'd like to just do that from this space you're in on your back, please do. If you'd like to transition and come up to an upright position, start to do that at this point in time. And I'll give you a brief little moment just so we have transitioners settled in. Again, you can do this on your back. That's totally fine. You could come into an upright position if that's your practice. And so we just went into our heart space in a pretty big way. Yeah. Heart, lungs, shoulders, arms, all the way down through the wrists, hands, and fingers. In yoga, that center, that's where we find love and empathy, compassion, kindness, forgiveness, and acceptance. And I believe for the majority of humans, the hardest 2 of those are acceptance and forgiveness. So we're going to do a little forgiveness meditation. So first I want you to imagine, or remember, it's not even imagine, remember something that you have done that has caused pain to somebody else. And don't go to really huge traumatic things. This is a practice and that starts to get a lot riled up potentially. So an example that I have is, my cat ended up getting attacked by a dog. And I had a lot of guilt and blame towards myself around that. So I chose that. but I've done many other ones in the past. And I want you to imagine that being with you, across from you, and imagine yourself saying to them, I see and acknowledge the pain that I caused you, and I forgive myself. And if that doesn't come easy, you can say, I have the intention to forgive myself. And then just sit in that open vulnerability. It's a place we don't go often, many of us. And just notice any of the physical sensations that come up with that. Maybe there are some thoughts or something gets triggered, an emotion. But it's okay, you're safe here. You're safe to practice. So again, we're going to say that one more time to that being. I see and acknowledge the pain that I caused you, and I forgive myself, or I intend to forgive myself. And then we're going to imagine somebody who has caused us pain. Maybe it's anger or frustration or hurt or whatever that might be. And again, don't go to the big traumatic things. That's not the space for that right now. And imagine that person across from you. And imagine yourself saying to them, I see and acknowledge the pain you caused me, and I forgive you, or I intend to forgive you. It's a practice, friends. Be willing to play. Sit in that open vulnerability, that open heart space. And one more time before we finish, again, you're going to see that person across from you in your imagination. And in your imagination, you say to them, I see and acknowledge the pain you caused me, and I forgive you, or I intend to forgive you. Maybe put your hands on your heart and just take a moment. Whatever sensations, emotions, feelings, thoughts arise, they are accepted. We accept ourselves as we are. And then for my friends lying down, feel free to wiggle things around. For my friends seated, we can bring our hands to our thighs, or you can leave them on your heart center if that's feeling nice. My friends who are lying down, you're going to meet us in an upright position, and we'll all be there in just a few moments here. And when you arrive, let's all of us now put our hands together in prayer position, namaste it's called. Let your thumbs literally touch in between your breasts, your chest, right in the heart. Take an inhale, get tall, and exhale, bowing the head in, thanking ourselves for practicing forgiveness. It is not an easy thing. We start small. And may we all learn to forgive ourselves, especially. Namaste.